Okay, hey everybody, we're back. We're going to finish up this salsa. What we've done is we have boiled the tomatoes. I boiled them. This one kind of, mostly fell apart. Some of them do. So the two tools you're going to use are a slotted spoon and some tongs. I'm going to go ahead and take the lid off of the Ninja. And you're going to take the tongs and you're going to pull the skin off, and you're going to discard the skin. I've got my trash can right there. I'm going to throw it in. The peppers I softened up in here. Again, you don't have to do that. You can throw those in at the end with everything else. So you're going to take these tongs and you're going to peel the skins off. This one turned out pretty much perfect. You can see that it still has the shape, the tomato shape. It's not just liquidized. So I'm just going to go ahead and take all of these off. And if they're little pieces that you just can't get, or it's ripping the whole tomato, it's okay. It's alright to have some of it in there. So don't worry about that. So just quickly, I'm going to grab these off. Here's another one that turned out pretty round. It seems like they get the toughest toward where the top of the tomato was, where the crown of it was. It seems like that's where the skin really tends to stick. So what you can do to kind of avoid some of that is to really rotate your tomatoes as they boil so that each one gets a chance to really loosen up. So we're going to continue to put all those in here. Again, that doesn't have to be perfect. You just want to pull it out. Some of it just slips right off. Just want to keep as much tomato as you can and get that in your food processor. So this, again, is a large batch. This is like 9 to 10 tomatoes. This one's on a little tough. It's 9 to 10 tomatoes, so I think I'm actually going to up my garlic from 8 large cloves to 10 because I love garlic. So I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about that and show you. Some people aren't familiar with how to get garlic peeled. So I was just going to quickly show, after I do this, quickly show you guys how to peel some garlic. And then we're going to pulse this and get it going. Looks like most of this skin wants to stay on. Just do my best to get the top of it off. Nope, it's not going. That one's going in. I didn't want to overboil it. You saw that the first one just fell apart. And these were different sizes, so if you do a really uniform batch and all of your tomatoes are the same size, then you don't have these kind of issues. But today, I just, wanted to make a large batch, so I just threw all of them in there and went for it. So peeling, that one came off super fast. It's just hanging there. So we're going to peel those. Be sure you get as much water out as you can, but that's not a really big deal. Again, you can see this one is sticking at the crown. Doesn't want to come off there at the top. But the back end of it, it totally lets loose really easily. And I just take it off and I throw it in. So that is really the hardest part of this whole thing. So we're done with that. I'm going to move that so you can see. If you do not want to mess with chopping garlic, you can leave it whole and put it in with the tomatoes if you want a really fine salsa. So if I put this in and I pulse the garlic with the tomatoes, I would do that when I didn't want a chunky salsa. That would be when I just want to pulverize this, and then later I can just pulse the cilantro and onion for a second if I want those ingredients to be a little chunky. But so if you don't want to fool with garlic, the other option is jarred garlic. But yeah, I don't like the taste. I do think it tastes different. It has a strong chemical-like smell. So again, I don't use that. So we've got our garlic in here. Let's go back to our ratios. We've got 4 for every 4 tomatoes. You're going to have 4 very large cloves of garlic. You're going to have a half cup of cilantro, and a half cup of onion. So we're doubling it. So we're going to go ahead and put everything in. We already got our garlic in there. Like I said, if you want to go ahead and pulse that down to nothing, I'll show you what that looks like. This thing is a Ninja is meant to be pulsed. And if you just want to go at it and let it just really blend really well, you can just hold it down. Alright, so really fast, that's done. It's done. If I could tip it without dumping it, maybe you can see it's just pretty much a liquid, the way that I did it there. So if you want your other ingredients to be chunky and visible, you can put those in at the end. And you just put your lid on. Line up put your motor back on. Oh, back to the garlic thing, I almost forgot. Yeah, so here's a clove of garlic. Let me get you a little light here so you can see. I've got this clove of garlic. The Ninja in the beginning did the work, so I just rewind a little bit and say if you were going to do whole cloves and blend them up like that beforehand, what you're going to do is you just take your garlic cloves and you just smack them with the knife, with the side of your knife, and the skin's pretty much just going to fall right off, and then you get your garlic cloves. So like I said, I love garlic. I was going to add these two to my batch, so they're going in. So I'm going to just toss them in the top. It wouldn't hurt to bite into a couple garlic chunks. And so this is just pulsed. The pulsed version, you can actually see the chunks of onion and cilantro. Yeah, probably should have had a spoon for this, but you can leave it that chunky where you can see the green and the white, a little bit of contrast. You can add lime. I don't love lime in my salsa, but you can add that in. Or you can just continue to pulse it down to where the whole thing is just almost like a solution. It's very evenly spread throughout, and it all tastes the same. No chunks, no, hey, I got too much cilantro in that bite or whatever. That's it. It's all done. So that is some super easy fresh salsa. I'm going to go over really quickly that you can do with your ratios. One huge, this size of diced tomatoes, a can. This size with the 4, pretend that's about 4 whole tomatoes. You can do your 4 large cloves of garlic. One thing I do not want to forget, which I get distracted, is you definitely have to have salt. The salt is the biggest thing that is to taste. This is your deal. This is what you like. With mine, I'm probably going to add back in, for this size batch, probably 2 teaspoons. My husband likes it really salty. My daughter likes it really salty. So I'm going to just throw that in there real quick before I forget. And nobody will be happy. Yeah, nobody's happy with not salty salsa. So 1 can of tomatoes, 4 cloves of garlic, a half cup of cilantro, a half cup of onion. So you can do that ratio. Same thing, you gotta boil your tomatoes, because what that does is it gets the canned flavor out. Because if you don't do it, they just taste like just tomato sauce, basically. Plain tomato sauce. They don't really have a flavor, so what you do is you boil those canned tomatoes with a little bit of garlic and with your peppers, and so it's going to flavor them just a little bit there, and then it's also going to flavor them when you do this. So once you're done, I like to let mine actually sit for probably at least an hour before I would serve it to anybody, because that gives it time for everything to just, for the garlic flavor to expand, the onion and everything just kind of mixes together. You also usually want it cool. You want to eat it cooler. So that's my salsa recipe. I love it. Everybody in the family loves it. Like and share it if you would. Subscribe if you'd like to see